But I was also wondering, how important do you think tests are? And do you write tests for your app, or do you say they are so simple and have so few lines of code that you don't bother with that?
Yeah, so I used to say that they're so simple and they have so few lines of code. And then what I realized is you don't do any feature work for 2 years. And then when you go back to it, you don't understand what it does. And when you do understand what it does, you don't understand how you can break stuff because there's no test. So for Read It to Me now, the last refactor I did, it's like not all of it's code covered, but all the important moving parts are code covered, because if in a year's time I have to go back and do something, I want to know that I'm not breaking anything. And then in terms of client work, that's mostly dependent on how much time we have to do the project and how much, it basically works out to the time. Like if there's a really tight deadline and they don't want us to write tests because it will take a longer amount of time, then we don't. But generally, I try and code cover as much as you can, primarily because if it's your own project and you go back to it after a certain period of time and you don't remember how it works, then you don't know if you're introducing bugs. So this is an easy way to make sure that you're not. And then if you're working on a project with other developers and, I leave the project and somebody else comes on, they don't know if what they're doing is going to break stuff because there's no tests saying that it works or it doesn't. So I would definitely advocate writing tests. I definitely advocate writing tests for your own stuff. I don't generally write UI tests. I write unit tests to test like logic and functionality. I don't test if you click this button, does it go to the right screen? Because I could do most of that stuff manually. And I just don't bother to do it, if I'm being honest. But in terms of tests, to test like functionality, then yeah, definitely unit tests.
Yeah, the one app I have on the store, I also put a lot of focus on tests, mainly because it's my learning project and I want to do it properly. But I noticed that it really slows new features down,
Yeah.
adding new features, because I feel like I have to write a ton of tests to really be sure that it doesn't break easily. And I feel like I'm spending now 90% of the time writing tests. I don't know if that's too much, but
I think generally writing tests, it depends what it is, but writing tests normally takes equal, maybe a little bit less, the same amount of time as writing the actual code. But it depends what it is, right? Because like you said, there's so many different permutations. If you want to make sure that you cover every single base, that is a lot of tests. Sometimes it might be good enough to just be like, here's the input, here's the end result. I don't really care what happens in the middle as long as the end result is always correct. And then, all that middle code is not tested, but at least you know that the end result is absolutely fine. So it kind of depends how you approach it. But generally speaking, tests are not quick to write.
yeah, I think a big reason why it feels like 90% time investment for me is because I still have to learn a lot about writing tests. So this is why it slows me down basically.
No, that makes sense.
And a lot of the features I'm writing, I already know how to do it.
Yeah. I was going to say also writing tests changes how you write code, because the more you learn how to write tests, the more you learn that the code that you wrote previously may not be testable, and you have to write in ways to make it more testable. But once you get like really good at that, then it's usually faster to do it.
Yeah, that's true. I had to change a few things in order to test them properly.
Yeah.